Hello, my name is Christopher Marshall. I am a graduate student here at the University of North Texas at Dallas, as well as a COVID survivor. I'm a board member of the Oak Cliff Veggie Project, and I'm here today with the Dallas VegFest to tell you about my experience with COVID-19. Earlier in March, I contracted the virus, possibly while working at a call center with 2,500 people. During February, everyone received their profit sharing bonus. So everyone went on vacation, they traveled, and they came back the beginning part of March. During that time, more likely I contracted the virus, and I didn't feel the effects of the virus until March 16th. And for a couple of days, I was sitting home from work. I tried to go into work to continue working, to keep income coming in, but unfortunately on March 18th, I was sitting home because I was running a fever. I believe I was 103 that day, and I had a hard time breathing. And I went to my PCP, and they asked me all the questions, try to find out if I, traveled or anything like that, and I haven't. But they tested me for strep and for a flu, and I came back positive for influenza B. For a couple of days, my wife and my mom tried to take care of me. I was on antibiotics, drinking lots of fluids, orange juice, soup, taking cleansers and things for my body to get me back to normal. My fever broke maybe on the 25th or so, but yet I still was declining. My health was declining. And after days of denying going to the ER, I finally went to the ER on March 26th. On March 26th, I was asked to be placed in a medically induced coma and to be intubated. I was unafraid because I had no idea what that meant. I just knew that they were going to put me to sleep. That was frightening, terrifying. But as they were hooking me up to put me under, I spoke to my wife through FaceTime, and I told her everything has been prepared, everything will be okay, and that I loved her. And as soon as I put the phone in my pocket and my keys deep down in my pocket, I was out. I woke up on March 31st, which was my 37th birthday. I woke up at a new hospital surrounded by a whole bunch of people, and I didn't know who they were. I just knew, hopefully to God, that they were nurses and doctors, and that I was still in Dallas, or I was somewhere. I didn't know where I was. For days, I was on fentanyl, I was on propofol, and I responded to questions and things like that from what I was told from my family, but I don't remember none of the days from March 31st to April 9th. April 9th is when I felt like I was fully aware of what was going on with me. When the doctors told me that I had COVID-19, and that's why everybody looked like they were out of Star Wars, stormtroopers and things. But I was terrified, I was helpless, hopeless. I was having tremors and seizures because I was so scared and frightened. I had these tubes and everything in my body. And then on April 9th, they took all the tubes out, tubes from everywhere. And on the 10th, I was moved from critical to stable. Well, I was moved from the ICU to a negative pressure room. And for the whole weekend until the 13th, I had to stay bedridden. But every day after the 9th, I had to endure the pain of all the finger pricks by 8 to 10 times a day, 4 times the insulin shots, the 2 shots of anticoagulants in my stomach, IV in one arm, ECMO IV in this arm. While I was under, I had tubes that went through in my neck, tubes that went through my groin to bring blood out of my body into a artificial lung that allowed my heart and my lungs to relax, because I almost died on the 29th. I had acute respiratory distress syndrome along with septic shock, and my organs were starting to fail, and I was going to no longer be here. In the last resort, the most aggressive form of life support was the ECMO treatment. So I was treated with ECMO. Well, I was curve flighted from Methodist Dallas to Medical City of Plano. And on the 29th, around the 9 o'clock hour, according to medical records, I was put on ECMO, and I recovered on March 31st. And the reason that my system started to shut down, one of the reasons, besides just COVID pneumonia, was also because of hydrochloroquine. The doctors at the previous hospital was using hydrochloroquine to try to treat the disease, and it kind of progressed the effects of COVID pneumonia to the point that my organs started to shut down. And it got heavy after learning this fact. You know, COVID-19 is no joke. There's a lot of struggles that you deal with after recovery. You know, I was in that hospital bed for the whole time until April 13th, when I was finally able to see my PT and my OT doctors. They showed me what to do for like 45 minutes. And then for the next couple of days, I worked out as hard as I could. I forced my body to recover, to build enough muscle to be able to do double of what was required of me to get out of the hospital, so I can use, first of all, so I can use the bathroom, second of all, so I can shower, and then third of all, so I can get home to my family and friends and my community. It was a rough process. I tested negative on April 16th, COVID-19. I didn't find out 2 days later. And then when I was released, I was released to my wife, and she was still dealing with COVID-19, as well as having to work from home, deal with that pressure, deal with the emotional part of it as well, and dealing with her own struggles as well. It was emotional, physical, and mental that you deal with COVID. I had to learn how to walk again, learn how to talk, read, do everything over again, eat, drink, everything. So when I tell you, if you don't want to be placed in a coma, on ventilators, don't want a bunch of needles and things in your arms, been on a restricted diet, not being able to see family and friends, going through all these things, and then having nightmares and PTSD and depression and panic attacks, if you don't want those things, please take COVID-19 serious, because this is a serious matter and it's not nothing to play with. I know everybody's going back to normal. They're going out to parties, they're throwing parties. I'm on social media. I see everything on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and the news, and I'm seeing people out here without masks, and they're living their best lives during the pandemic and the worst economic downturn that we've seen in a long time. And I'm telling you, COVID-19 is not a joke. Please take this serious. If you don't care about your own health, care about the health of little kids, the health of the elderly, the health of your family and friends, because none of us knew that we had COVID-19. It was too late, and it's going to be too late for a lot of people that's been exposed to the disease without them even knowing it. So if you love your people, if you love your community, please take COVID-19 seriously. You do not want the medical bills that I had to deal with, close to $1 million of medical debt. Not only that, time away from family and friends. Not only that, 3 weeks without being able to live your normal life. 3 weeks of just being in a hospital bed for so long. Having dystrophy, losing muscle mass, all these type of things. There's a lot of things that happen with COVID. Your organs get damaged. There's so much stuff I can't even tell you in this last bit of minutes. But I want you to say, I at least want to say to you, please take COVID-19 serious.